I am gearing up to try and make sure that I have watched all the films that have Oscar nominations. So we've got some interesting watching coming up, but I went to see Parallel Mothers in the cinema. And so this is going to be my movie review of that. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel every week and then movie reviews just like this one here at the weekend. In the description box below you will find all of my social links, and just as a disclaimer, all of my movie reviews are spoiler free. I will leave a playlist of my recent reviews linked above in case you are looking for something to watch this weekend. Obviously I have watched quite a lot of the Oscar nominated films just by having watched them, just by accident, but in the run up to Oscars week I always try and watch all, if I can, of the Oscar nominated films, and Parallel Mothers was one that I was supposed to go to an Odeon Limitless screening of, ended up getting stuck at school and so didn't make it, so I went to see it when they screened it for a second time in my local Odeon. The reason that this didn't get very many screening times was because this is a Spanish film. It is subtitled and they never get a very long run in a mainstream cinema. I had to go to a bigger cinema in order to see this one. It wasn't necessarily playing in any of the smaller cinemas, and so yes, this was my Monday night last week. This one stars Penelope Cruz, and I did go and see this one with Ollie, and he came out the cinema going, I'm always a little bit baffled as to why Penelope Cruz is the only actress cast in Spanish speaking roles. And I mean, she's also cast in a lot of non-Spanish speaking roles just as a Spanish character. And yeah, I don't understand why all Spanish films must have Penelope Cruz in. Is it like written into like the contract of somewhere in the Spanish film industry that they must have Penelope Cruz in? It's a little bit like Javier Bardem as well. I feel like he is often the Javier Bardem and to an extent Antonio Banderas. They seem to be the only males who are cast in any kind of Spanish speaking or Spanish from a country that speaks Spanish role. So there was that. It was like, has this film just been nominated for an acting Oscar because of Penelope Cruz? Is that the only reason that it got considered? Because she has obviously been nominated before. But yeah, it was an interesting premise of a film. It was a long film, I will say. And it felt like it was two very separate films. So it is about two parallel mothers. These mothers meet when they're having their babies in hospital. And we know for a fact that Penelope Cruz's character also has this issue where she's employed this paleontologist to help dig up what was a sort of open grave so that the people from her village that got put in this mass grave during the war could be exhumed and have a proper burial in their family's burial site, have a proper grave, have that more respected ending. So that's where we begin the film, and then we find out that she's pregnant, she meets this other mother, and they have this like parallel mother's life, and that's a different storyline. So Penelope Cruz's character storyline is one thing, and then her storyline as the parallel mother with the other mother is another storyline. Now her storyline with the like paleontology, gravesite, family side of things is interesting. It's probably not enough for a whole film, and so I can see why it's just a sort of sub storyline, but it's much more like a serious Oscar style of film. The storyline that I can't go into a lot of detail of because no spoilers, that happens with this other mother who she befriends when they're having their babies at the exact same time. Some of this really plays out like a telenovela. Some of it plays out like, you know, when you read a book and they obviously kind of were grasping at strings for a subplot of something and you're like, that's a really sort of tenuous thing that this character has done. I don't fully believe that that character would have done that. I'm not fully invested in that character's choice. Some of the other storyline plays out like that. Again, being able to chat to Ollie about it afterwards, I said some of the music and some of the sort of shooting and directorial choices felt very telenovela. And he completely agreed. He said, yeah, he said some of the end shots of parts of the film were very like Oscar shooty. We're going for the cinematography awards, we're going for the film editing awards, we're going for the direction awards. But then other parts of it were almost so jarring or so completely set to music, like we're going out of this scene like a soap opera, that it did feel like a telenovela, like a soap opera, like an overly dramatized thing. It also, in some parts, felt really dragged out, and in other parts felt really rushed. And so the pacing was just off. And when you've got a film that is 2 hours plus and the pacing is off, it just adds to the film feeling longer, whether it's parts that have been rushed or whether it's parts that have dragged on. It does just add to the film having been longer. I like the fact that it is set in Spain and has Spanish-speaking characters and is subtitled. I really enjoyed that. It's been a while since I watched a Spanish subtitled film myself. I think the last time was probably... I don't know that there was anything Spanish-speaking and subtitled nominated for any awards Oscars last year, so it probably would have been the year before. I feel like there was more there was just other language other language films nominated for Oscars last year. It was a weird Oscars last year, wasn't it? Let's face it. But yeah, I enjoyed that aspect of it. Penelope Cruz's apartment always had 2 bowls stacked up with fruit, and I thought that that was really interesting. She had different fruit in the 2 bowls. They also drink a lot of wine and have a lot of sort of bits and pieces of tapas style food with the wine. Love that. And there is some cooking in the film, which is very nice. There's some interesting relationship choices as well throughout the film. Again, not all of which I bought. And so, yeah, it just felt like the film to me was a little bit disconnected. There were some good threads in there, but the wrong threads had been picked up and the wrong threads had been discarded. And so it just didn't all come together as a, yes, I recommend this film. So should you pay your cinema going money to go and see this film? No. Should you necessarily stream this film at home? In my opinion, probably not. But if you were going to do it, it might be worth doing it in 2 separate sittings because it is a long film. And this is someone who did go and see the 50th anniversary Godfather in the cinemas this week and had a great time. Ate cannolis, sat there and watched The Godfather, enjoyed it. So yeah, it is a bit too long. It's interesting. Does Penelope Cruz necessarily deserve an acting Oscar nomination for it? I personally don't think so, especially compared to some of the other people in the field. But that is something that we will get into in my Oscars week videos. So make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on those Oscars week videos. Also, I will of course be bringing you more bookish content in the week and another movie review next weekend, so you're not going to want to miss out on those. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and as always, please do let me know if there is something coming out in cinemas this week that you want me to go and watch in the cinemas and bring my review to you here next week. Yes, with that being said, I will see you with my movie review next week and my bookish content in the week. Thanks for watching.